made a remarkable discovery, something my friends have been telling me for years. They said, put your prices up. And I just couldn't do it. It was so hard for me to put my prices up. Now, it's fairly understandable as to why. When I was growing up, we were often hiding behind the sofa to avoid the bailiffs. We were evicted from houses. My parents' income, it was a fairly tough situation as I was growing up. I always had hand-me-down clothes, which was fine, but the thing I really hated was having to write thank you letters for the girls who gave me the darn clothes when they were getting new clothes and I wasn't. I learned a lot about money, but what I really learned about money was that I wasn't worth it. Now that might seem like kind of like, whoa, here's the tiniest violin in the world. But really, I'm not the only one who has had similar upbringings and things like that going on. And even if you haven't had that upbringing, if there's been conflict in your family home around money, and let's face it, when do parents not argue about money? When are people not scared about money? You know, even rich people, in fact, some of the most affluent clients that I've got worry more about money than the poor ones, mainly because the poor ones haven't got any to worry about. So it's really quite interesting how we get so much anxiety around money, but money starts to become the value of you as a human being. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, that you're a slave to the stuff, but we kind of end up that our value in ourselves becomes equated to this kind of like money-based substance stuff that seems to be elusive, come into our lives and go out of our lives. So what we charge for our services as an independent business person can equally be equated to how we feel about ourselves as human beings. So what's kind of crazy about this is even your employment, when you go and get a job interview, when you get hired, that also has an equation to how much money that they offer to pay you. Now, one of the reasons why women get paid less than men, and it isn't just because, oh, well, she might run off and go and get pregnant and then I've got to go and pay for her maternity leave and all of these other things. It's our own sense of value. Now, if you think about it, a woman preens herself, wears fantastic shoes, nice clothes, does her hair, does her nails, well, clearly not in my case, but does really nice things to make themselves look good in the same way that a peacock may display its feathers in order to be able to attract a mate. So this is kind of like a natural thing that women do in order to make ourselves look great for the procreation of the species. We are biologically programmed to do this because we like to have a wide open face with large open eyes, which is why we wear makeup around our eyes to make ourselves look younger, so it looks like our eggs are more fertile. I'm not going to even tell you because it's very rude why we wear lipstick. So there's lots of reasons as to why we're constantly making ourselves look available, and it is because Mother Nature has got that programmed into our psyche in order to procreate more human beings into the world. It makes complete sense. However, it's also a way to market money out of you. So in other words, you get your self-esteem manipulated by magazines that you're reading who will sort of like say, oh, this shocking thing about cellulite, and oh, if you don't own these shoes then you're not a girl about town, and oh, if you haven't got this particular designer jacket, you know, what do your nails say about you? Nothing, I'm not showing you them. All of these things that we believe because really, in essence, magazines need advertisers, and advertisers are selling you things to make you feel good about yourself. So there's two things going on here. Knock you down to build you up. And the way to build you up is on the products that you're going to buy. It doesn't build you up, it actually builds up the finances of the person selling the products. And so the loop goes on. And one of the things that drives me crazy for women is that we devalue ourselves. Society is devaluing us based on what we're looking like, all the way down to how old we are, all the way down to our productivity. So we don't end up standing up for ourselves and say, listen, I'm valuable, I am worth more. This is what I want to create, this is the money that I am worth. And one of the other reasons why we simply don't do that is not only are we bombarded by negative information, it makes us feel like we're not valuable. And when we don't feel valuable, we don't stand up and say, hey, you're not paying me that. I am worth this. We don't get into these conversations because we want to be loved, and that goes back to the procreation of the species. It's time to break out of this cycle of lack of valuing ourselves. And this isn't just for women either. I think that this is happening more and more to men, and a lot more than we like to think, especially now watching films where men have to have big pectoral muscles. I don't know if you know this, but pectoral muscles don't actually do anything. You can't really lift anything with a pectoral muscle. The only thing a pec does is pack a really, really good punch. So the reason why we like pecs on a man is about, oh, you're my hero, I've been protected by you, I've been saved from the neighbouring tribe. So really, it's not that far from going back to kind of like Neanderthal times, really, from being protected from the neighbouring tribe because you're in relationship with a man who could pack a darn good punch. None of this is particularly bad, and let's face it, I'm not going to say, oh, I couldn't possibly date you, you've got really nice pecs. But the point I'm trying to make here is that the value of yourself is really significant and important. I'm going to be running some workshops coming up over the next few months where I'm going to be teaching you how to value yourself more and how to use your intuition to be able to really nail your sense of value and self-respect and self-esteem. If you want to know more about these workshops, please look at my website, beckywalsh.com, and I will keep you posted and up to date if you want to sign the mailing list there of all future workshops, but especially ones on self-esteem, because this is my bugbear right now, and I can teach you how to love yourself, increase your income, and ultimately make the world a better place at large.